Welcome to the channel. If you're wondering what we're going to call the channel, I'm going to start up a brand new channel. We're going to call it Lost on the Farm. You figure, what in the world would you call it Lost on the Farm? How can you get lost on your farm? It's not really like that. It's going to be a channel that's going to kind of cover a lot of things. My parents acquired this property back in 1961, so it's been in the family for a few years. For a few years I left and went in the Navy and come back after that and have been on the property off and on since then, but then finally moved back to the property. I'm going to talk a little bit about what it takes to maintain this place. There's quite a few acres here. You know, it's small in comparison to some people, but extremely large in comparison to others. Going to talk about different things. Going to talk about maintaining roads. I've got approximately 3/4 of a mile of road that just encompasses going to my home. Then I've got another probably half mile throughout the property, and then there's trails that we maintain. Then there's other things that goes on here as far as cutting grass. You know, my mother has gotten up in age, and I cut her grass and I cut my grass, and I cut some of the things like you see behind me. This is like an old pasture, but when you come into the property, this is what you look at, so I don't want it to look bad. And in keeping through all of this, you got to think it's a massive undertaking. If this is something you like, I'm going to talk about coming up here in a few episodes about trying to have the equipment that it takes. You know, sometimes I wonder, how did our grandparents and things, how did they keep their roads up? How did they keep the places coming to their homes? You know, was it rough? You know, I'm sure it was. I mean, you know, it's an old wagon trail. We try to keep up property now and keep it from washing away and different things, you know, and I wonder sometimes how they kept up their property. We'll talk about those things. We'll look at excavators on here. We'll look at farm machinery. We'll look at other things that we're going to have on the channel. If this is something that interests you, please like and subscribe and to the channel. Ring the bell if you want to have notifications. I'm going to try to have at least 2 to 3 videos a week. We'll go through what we can. If you are a landowner who owns a piece of property, you work a regular job, and you find it all the time like, I don't get to go anywhere, I don't get to do anything because this is where I get to do it at, then you know, down in the comment section say, I feel your pain. Just put down there, I feel your pain. It's something that is a full-time job. You know, if you live in like a subdivision, you may have to cut a little bit of grass on the weekends. You may have somebody that cuts it for you. But if you live out and you like living out and it is something you enjoy, then you can feel my pain of every weekend, every afternoon, doing something to upkeep the property. I will also go over things, what happens if you let it go. A couple of times on this property, we let it go. I had to go back and hire a guy that had to come in and mulch this place just so I could get it back to where I could bush hog it, or rotary cut it, or cut down the big stems, whatever you call it. It's just that it takes a lot to get that done. And if you do have a piece of property, you know what all it will take. I had somebody come back in and do some mulching. I've got a road right now that has got to have some major work on it. We'll go over that. We'll go through a few things on that. I've got a fish pond. Matter of fact, I've got a couple of fish ponds, but one of them has a beaver in it. I've had people tell me, don't kill him, because then you'll have more problems than what you thought. Then you get there and you say, okay, what all have I got to do to get rid of it? The pond is old. The pond's probably going to be over 40 years old. Everybody says drain it, start over, you know. Those type of things are what we're going to look at on this channel. We're going to go through a lot of different things, and mostly with equipment and things like that. We'll just see what we can do. Equipment now is so expensive, and it's a high cost. But we'll take a look and we'll go through these things. And if this is something that you might like, I ask that you please like and subscribe to the channel, and we'll get some videos going. Thanks.